Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. So today, I've been working a little bit on the Beak Jeep, but this video has nothing to do with that. No, today I'm actually going to be shutting down my mating nukes, my queen castles that I've been running all year long, mating queens, selling them, getting more virgins introduced, and getting those mated. Today we're going to be shutting those down, and we've got a couple options ahead of us, and depending on what we find today when we break into those mating nukes will depend and kind of dictate what option we do to shut those down for the year. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I hope you are too, so stick around. All right, so here we are in the mating yard. The first goal is going to be getting the bees that are remaining out of the mating nukes and into some regular medium honey supers. And so I'm going to be doing that one of these at a time. And the goal behind that, and the reason behind that is, I'm either going to be combining them with one of my hives up on the hill so that they're no longer queenless and they can join one of those colonies and have a queen and contribute to that hive. Or if I find that one of these has made a queen after I pulled the remaining of the mated queens, then I will probably combine all of these into one and have that queen be their queen. So the first step is to get them into some boxes that I can manage them as a regular colony and move into the winter with. So depending on whether or not I find a queen will kind of dictate which route we go. But either way, I've got to get these mating nukes emptied. And plus, that's going to give me a chance to go ahead and perform some maintenance on those. This kind of board did not work. They chewed through it, they created some crossovers, and that usually eliminates one of the queens, and then they only have one queen between the two chambers out of the three. But also this stuff, when it gets wet, which it didn't in the hive, it swells. So this was not an ideal material. I don't remember what it's called, but don't get it. All right, so let's go ahead and start unscrewing these things from the queen tree and getting a regular box to transfer them into. Okay, so the way we're going to handle this, since this is the area that these bees are accustomed to orienting in on, we're going to take this and move it over here. Whew. I made some honey. All right, now I'll put a bottom board here, box here, and my bottom board, this is my special one, it's got this feeder port back here, but we won't put a feeder jar in there. We'll use it as an entrance for these bees that are used to coming in this way. And on this box, I've got one hole that these bees coming back, they were coming to two holes, but they're gonna have to get used to the one because they're all being combined anyways. And they'll return to this. This way, even if I don't finish today, I've got a box for them to return to. It's already their normal space. They'll just have to get used to one another. I've never had a problem with combining queenless bees or queenless bees with queen right bees. It always works out. And I never have the fighting that the books warn you about. All right, so now, as I go through each of these three, we'll be looking for a queen. And if we find one, great. If not, this job is still needed as part of the shutting down of this mating yard. Okay, girls. So first one here, this is a bare frame that I'm sure I took a full frame of honey out and gave them this to slow them down. It was easy for these to become honey bound during the flow when you kind of ignore them for a few days. Again, honey, no brood to speak of. So I'm going to structure the frames in this box just as I would a normal honey super with more of the honey in the middle. And then here we've got a full, almost full frame of honey with pollen right there in the center. So I'm going to turn that around and face it in as if we had a brood nest, which is usually how they orient things anyways. All right, so this first one's done. There's bees in here. I'm not going to worry about them at the moment. I'm going to move on to number two. There's a lot of bees in this one. Give them a little bit of smoke. It's a foggy morning. So they're not used to me messing with them this time of day. I don't want to get any of their bristly stingers mixed up with my face. Okay. This frame here, a lot of honey, open nectar, no brood, just capped honey on that side. You see that coloration? You can see where there was brood, like in that rainbow pattern, but then as it emerged, they backfilled it with honey. That's gonna go, that's a good outside frame. I'm gonna put it next frame in from outside. All right. They got a big open space on this one where they would open it up for a queen to lay, but there is no brood in there to speak of. But you know what? I just found a queen. Nice. Okay. So I wasn't expecting that. There she is. She's got a very bald thorax. I wouldn't consider her an older queen. I'm not sure why her thorax is bald, but there she is. Okay, so this one's going to be queen right, and we'll want to keep an eye on her since I don't see any eggs in here yet. Very cool. So then the only thing to make sure of as I finished up this one was to see if there's a queen in this third chamber, in which case I would not want to put her in this other one. No brood in this one. This looks just like that previous frame where they've opened up space for her to lay. All right, final one. Ouch, got stung on the finger. Here we go. Full frame of honey. There's plenty of bees in here. I feel like with this queen and the number of bees and honey, this box itself could winter over if they got enough brood under their belt. This will help. So resource-wise, this colony would be great for wintering. Here's another beautiful frame of honey. They've got pollen right there in that open spot. I'll put that up against where a brood nest would be. And these girls' attitude is a little jumpy this morning. It's easier to work bees more into the day when it's warmer and they're out working. Okay, one glance over for the queen. Not seeing any brood. I'll put them down in. And for now, so I can continue moving on and working, I can just put a hive cover on this one and let all these bees in the air orient on their new box. So for now, I can just let them orient on their new box and get used to each other while I move on to the next colony, or the next mating nuke rather. Okay, just one sting to the nose made me decide to put on a veil. And so what do I do with this? Well, since this box is loose, what I'm gonna do with all the bees that are still left in here, I don't even have to worry about them. I could bounce them out on the ground, but I'm just going to set the box right down in front of the colony, or their new hive. And as I continue to work, these girls will take flight, orient on that new box, and they'll, as they find the entrance, the ones that do so will just start fanning. In fact, I think we can see them already doing that. Let's zoom in here. Yeah. And so now that would be the same thing I do to the rest of these. This one didn't work out. They don't even have anything in there except for maybe some honey to add to one of these or one of my colonies up on the hill. But the fact that she's got a queen tells me how I want to proceed, but I still definitely want to make sure that these other ones do or do not have a queen and not just throw them all together. Because as many queens as I can get, I will make a colony out of. So let's say that this one does not have a queen. I'll put them in one of my yellow boxes just like I did that one, and I'll probably stack it on top of that so that they got a bigger population and an even better chance for going into wintertime and coming out of wintertime successfully. Okay, so here's the next one. I just got it loose, undid the screws underneath. Gonna put it over here, bottom board in place, back entrance available, front entrance available. Okay, smoker out of reach. Ugh. All right, so this one's actually got a queen cage hanging in it still that I've not removed. So there's a possibility that they have a queen in here that I never came back to check on. Here's an empty frame, a little bit of honey. This would be a great outside frame. Okay, here's our queen cage. I'm gonna pull. Either she was released or she was killed in the cage, whether it was neglect or whatever. So we will find out. Yeah, she was released. So whether she worked out or not, I'm gonna say probably not, because there's not many bees in here. I see no brood. They've got honey, but it's kind of nice because going through each one this way, I can finish all of them, put them in their respective boxes, knowing what queens I have and where, I can decide how I want to move forward from there. This one looks like it went droney because I've got some drone brood in worker cells. I do have a queen right here, but I'm not sure of her quality. Looking down, I can see where she's laying a couple of eggs in a cell, and the other eggs are way off center. So in this case, I'll probably snuff her out. She's not a good queen. I don't know if she didn't mate well. Where did she go? I already lost her. They are so good at eluding us. Did she go down in the box? She's not on the wall. Oh yeah, she is on the wall. She snuck down in here. She's down there in that corner. There she is, coming up the wall of the box. Tricky, tricky. All right, I can't catch her and hold the camera, so I'm gonna grab her. All right, I got her. I'm not too worried about injuring her because she's not a great queen. Ooh, looks like she's trying to sting me. Let's see if we can show that. Her little stinger coming out there. There it is. I've always told people that a queen won't sting you, but I've read in books from people who breed queens a lot that they will. Okay. Sorry, queen. Thank you for what you've given us. I would like to put her in the grass so that she decomposes and ants get to eat her and her energy moves on. Okay. This is officially queenless, but we still got to move to the next one and check for that. Okay. It looks like I joined these two compartments at an earlier time. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove both inner covers and treat them as one. Of course, we got empty outside frame, nothing on it. That'll be an outside frame in this box. Little bit of honey on this one, none on this side. So I'll face that honey towards the inside. I'll squish a beetle with my thumb and move on. I've got open nectar in this one. No signs of brood or a queen. Now we're getting to the more populous frames of bees and honey. This one's got open nectar, some capped honey. No queen, but evidence of having made their own. Here's what that looks like. So that's a chewed open queen cell. That tells me I better keep a lookout for a queen. Okay, we've got some capped brood here, some older larvae, an egg, and it's centered, so they may have made their own queen. Eggs on this side. Bee trying to sting me in the face. Time to put a veil on. All right, still not seeing her. She might be on the last frame. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put this one in here, but kind of keep a gap between it and the next frame so she can't cross over in case she is on this. I can look again. Okay, this side's mostly honey. I don't see a queen. This side's got some brood. Looks like she's actively laying. Yep, there she is. Okay. I'm having trouble seeing her, so I can put her in the frame. There she is. There, right there in the center. All right, so that's 2 for 2. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this frame over, make room for her. They have less bees than the first one we did, but it's not a big deal. I could possibly boost them up with some brood from one of my colonies up on the hill. But for now, I know their status. So all I've got to do is make a bunch of noise, put their cover on, and they're good to go. Like, if I didn't if I couldn't finish this today, like say rain or something got in the way, at least this part's done and I could continue on really easily while they acclimate to their new situation. And just like before, I'm going to put this on the ground in front so the bees in here, which are not many, can leave on their own and go back home. Okay, let's see if this one's got a queen. I've unfastened it. Oh, it's kind of heavy. Now this one was so heavy, and you guys know I didn't have like much of a counterbalance on this side, so I did get some twisting in this, which I'll just fix with bracing a leg under this for next year. And next year I'll have another one of these. It'll be a different color on this side, so it'll balance out better. But because of that angle, when we had some hard rains, it would bounce and splash into the rear entrance. And so I got some water in the front of the colony here. So not only will balancing this out and leveling it better help prevent that, but I'll probably drill some holes this winter in these as I improve them so that should any water get in, it can drain out. Okay, let's get my bottom board in place. Entrance in the back. Box entrance in the front, just like before. And it looks like in this one I've got 2 of them combined as well. Actually, no, all 3 of these are combined. So we either have 1 queen in this whole thing or we have 0 queens. Okay. Inner cover off. They look pretty good just looking down in between them. I'm going to guess that they may have a queen. They've really glued this to the frames. 1 beetle, 1 less beetle because I squashed it. And so far their calm demeanor tells me there's a good chance that they're queen right. Let's give them a little smoke. I'm going to start with the outside frame, work my way in. And this one, they've got honey wall to wall. I mean, it's not like every frame is just full, but there are no empty frames. So I'm going to orient this the same way it comes out of the box that I'm taking it from. 2, no brood on this frame. No sign of a queen, but they do have food. Nectar coming in. Normally we are in a dearth right now, but for some reason things started blooming early. And so we skipped the dearth. I don't know what that means for later, but we will see. All right, we got some pollen on this one. I'm guessing that if we've got a queen, there will be some brood on the next frame. And I'm not going to keep these here. I'm going to move them up on the hill at some point onto one of my other hive stands, because I'm not going to screw these to the queen tree. I don't want to keep these here in these queen raising locations. All right, that's mostly capped honey on that side. This side's open a little bit. They're calm like they have a queen, but I don't see any brood down in there. I'm going to put this one like this, orienting the pollen in and the honey out. Okay, right here we've got a bunch of capped brood, and I see right away 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 queen cells. And a couple, 3 on this side. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's a 6th up there. So in other words, this is probably one of the later ones I pulled a queen from, and they are drawing from her genetics, drawing out some new queens. So these will go here, and I won't move them until that queen has gone, mated, returned, and started laying well. Then I'll move them. Because when it comes to like when queen cells and a colony raising a queen, I don't like to disturb them too much. This is probably the most perfect timing because they're still capped queen cells and none of them have emerged yet. I can do what I need to do and get out, and then when the queen comes and emerges, she doesn't know any different. All right, we've got Ooh, one really nice queen cell on this one. This is better than the other ones. The way it's formed, it's longer, tapered. Nice. I don't know when, but soon there will be a battle to the death. Let's put her over here. 2 more frames to go. Solid honey, solid honey. Mostly honey, mostly honey. Great outside frame. Good population in this one. And I'll show you what it looks like in the box, what I mean by the standing water. So there's our water. And I think I can do better than that. And it only got in 1 compartment, which verifies what I was thinking, because this was the back and it was the uphill. So water was splashing on what the surface it was sitting on going in through the entrance. And I know that because it's not wet in this one and it's not wet in this one. But I want to take care of this because I don't want this to rot out. You know, this stuff takes a while to make and it's an investment. So I'm going to fix that this winter time. And a lot of times when you're working a colony and you're not smoking too much, the bees will actually rise up and give you a better example of exactly how many bees are in the box, which gives you an idea of their strength. Let's go ahead and put a cover on them and get to our very last one. So far we've got 2 with queens, 1 that will have a queen. We still have drones and there's still plenty of time for her to mate. So I'm not too concerned about them not getting ready for winter, mostly because they've already got so much honey. All right, these bees, I'll leave them to reorient and let's get started on that last one. Okay, last one. Oh, not as heavy as the last one, but still got some weight to it. There we go. Bottom board in place, entrance in the back. I didn't have any more empty medium supers, so I had to get this one. I just have to take the frames out of it and store these in the shed. Good comb for next year. All right, here we go. All right, this one's in 3 different compartments. That means we will work one at a time. So far from the population, I'm gonna guess they might have a queen. I mean, you know, that's duh. They might have a queen, they might not. What I mean is, they show signs of having a queen based on their population and demeanor. There's some capped brood on this one. Open cells around it, but nothing laid with eggs. Their demeanor tells me they have a queen. If they do, she definitely hasn't started laying on this frame. Let's put this right about there. And yep, looks like we've got a brand new virgin running around. Let's see if we can get her on screen and keep up with her. Where did she go? I already lost her again. There she is in the bottom bar. She's quick. See the difference in a mated queen and a virgin? That virgin just runs over everything like a football player. And one more thing, what I should have seen first was these signs of chewed out queen cells. And now these were not emerged, they were chewed out from the sides, which means they are the ones that did not make it. So there's quite a few. So this one raised their own. I've got a virgin right there on that frame, which means I don't really have to give this frame much look. They do have a little bit of honey and nectar. This will make a great outside frame. Okay, we're gonna move on to the middle one here. So far we haven't come across one of these with 2 queens, and I hope we don't. I think it'd be really nice to just have 1 per box and I don't have to come up with another situation. All right, here's a bare frame, drawn out comb though, great for the outside. Here's one, we've got a lot of honey on the top, a little bit of incoming nectar, pollen on this one, so I'll put this closer to the brood nest with the pollen facing the brood chamber, or you know, the brood nest. Last one, we've got some honey, heavier, More honey on this one. That side's almost entirely capped, so this will go right here. And now we got one more to open. So we didn't have any queen on that one. And this last one, very few bees. My guess is that they do not have a queen, but they definitely have some honey. This one's got a lot of drones on this one section of frame. A little bit of honey, that would make good for a next to inside frame. Here's a lot of bit of honey. No signs of eggs in those empty cells. That will go great right here. Those empty cells facing inward so that it gives the queen a more readily spot to lay eggs. And our last frame, what do we have? We've got space for a queen to lay, but no eggs, no brood of any kind. We do have some pollen crowned with capped honey. I'm going to move this frame out because I think this would be a better frame in its place. It's got more space for a queen to lay. And that was fairly minimal disturbance for having a virgin. Either way, this needed to happen. So obviously this is going to need to sit here until she gets mated. There's still quite a few bees in this box. And just like before, I'm going to set it down in front and let them leave the box and find their own way home. And it's easiest right here at the bottom. This is going to get a cover. And now there's only one more important thing to do to shut this yard down. All right, so here's one I'm just trying to pull, but we never moved this one because there's no bees in this one. All right, so I've got all the equipment I need to haul away to the shed on the ground. I can carry that away later. For now, the bees are leaving that equipment, reorienting on their new spots, and I've pushed all the ones that we worked into the center for balance purposes so that they're centered and not like wonky by themselves because there's a lot of honey in these. And of course, I'll undo this one, check inside of that. It's not alive. But what we did end up with was more than I thought we would. We've got 2 queens here and here, a virgin right there, and queen cells in this one. So I've actually got 4 potential colonies that'll be going into winter, which I wasn't expecting, and they almost replaced the 5 droney hives that I lost from this summer. So kind of balances out. These colors with the green, yellow, and purple remind me of Joker. Okay, so anyways, if you got any questions or thoughts about shutting down a mating yard, put them in the comments below. I appreciate you guys joining me today. And don't forget to tell all of your friends about the Hive Doctor and that they should subscribe. And our goal is 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I've been able to get this far because of you guys. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video.